Today I'm thinking about boundaries. I had a friend bring this up on Facebook, and I love this topic. It's a really big one with me and my clients. It's something I worked on a lot in my life, and it's something that I think is crucial for all of us to understand moving forward, how to set boundaries. And there are three ways that people usually see boundaries that are good, but I don't think that they're the most powerful. And I'm going to tell you which way is the most powerful in the second half of this talk here. So the first way that most people see boundary setting is boundaries are things that prevent behaviors that we don't want from others. So I set up a wall, that's not allowed anymore. In fact, that's the way that I used to see boundaries mostly, was this big moment where I would step up and finally say like, no, you're not doing that anymore, I'm free now. And that's great, it's fine, but it's not the most powerful way. The second way to set a boundary or see a boundary is it's something that is part of a group that you're in. Okay, or maybe it's a race or a class or a political affiliation. So in other words, like I'm a man, so men, we have this boundary, we have these needs, and those things aren't appropriate for us, etc. I'm also a person who is half white and half Latino, so I have certain things that are due to me and certain things that I need to accept and not accept because I'm a mixed race person. And the third way that people usually set boundaries, that's good, but not the most powerful, is the closest to powerful, which is something that we deserve. So I deserve this, I don't deserve that. That's a boundary that I have. Here's the issue with those three ways. Those are great elements of boundaries and can produce awesome results. But those three things are based on stuff that's outside of us or stuff that we can't always control. And that's always going to be an issue in all of the change work, okay? So for the first one, for example, right, when we are thinking about what other people do to us, of course we can't control what other people do to us. So if our behavior is based on what other people do, then we're not as powerful. The second thing of a group or a class or a race or a political affiliation or whatever it is, I don't think exactly like everybody else in my group, and I know you don't either. If you've ever disagreed with anybody in your race, your class, your political affiliation, your sport, whatever it is, then you know that what I'm saying is true. That boundary doesn't apply to everybody. So it's not a good boundary to set yourself on. And the third way, what you deserve. Here's the thing about deserving. First of all, it's awesome. It's the first step to gaining your power. I'm going to break it down a little bit, though, with deserving and where that comes from and why it isn't the best and most powerful way to set your boundaries. Deserving, when we say we deserve something, like, hey, I deserve this, or I don't deserve that, here's where that comes from. In our mind, we're reacting against something that's happened to us in the past that we've allowed. The reason we take a stand is because we've allowed it before. So we allowed it. And our mind might have said, like, for example, I let somebody use terrible language to me or call me names or whatever it was. And in my mind, I'm saying, I do not deserve that. I know I don't deserve it. So why do we let it happen? We let it happen because there's another part of us that thinks we do deserve it. I'm a piece of shit. I suck. Or I'm weak. I can't stand up. I can't do these things. So I'm just going to let it happen. So there's a part of your mind that has said you deserve it. You fought by saying, no, I don't deserve it. And then one day you said, you know what? I don't deserve that. I do deserve this. Awesome. Here's the problem. There'll be times you don't feel worthy again. It happens to all of us. Definitely. Times when you feel like you don't have the strength or you don't have the spirit, or maybe you question yourself. So if you base your boundary on that deserving feeling, then when you don't feel like you deserve to feel good or to feel worthy, you're going to change your boundary. And we don't want that. We want to set powerful boundaries. So what's the answer to setting powerful boundaries? It's deciding what you want in the life that you want. It's deciding which behaviors, actions, and habits you want and which ones you don't want in the life that you want. So take some time to think about, wow, who am I and how am I in the life that I want? What do I do? What do I not do? What do I allow? What do I not allow? That's how you're going to be able to move past what you deserve. It's not what you deserve or don't deserve. It's what I want for the life that I want. And whatever you do about the boundary that I set, hey, that's up to you, man. This is still what I want, and this is still what I don't want. So think of it as a gatekeeper, okay? The gatekeeper. Boundaries a gatekeeper. It's not just preventing stuff from coming in, okay? It's also preventing stuff, allowing stuff to come in, allowing stuff to come in, and vice versa from myself. It prevents stuff that I don't want from myself from happening, or it encourages things that I do want. And the thing here is those boundaries are not always easy, and they aren't always just, oh, it's a clear boundary. It's not. They're flexible. They change person to person. We don't apply the same thing to every problem, because if we do that, we start getting back into this idea that we're part of this big thing that we don't control. Like, I have different boundaries from my partner. I should. We have a different relationship. So these boundaries are things that you're setting in order to encourage what you want and discourage what you don't from yourself and from others. Whether it's an eating habit, like let's say I don't eat junk food after 8. That's a boundary I'm setting to encourage what I want, a nice healthy body, and discourage what I don't, my guilt and shame later because my body is crappy, and my knowledge, the truth is I did that to myself. So it's a boundary I have to set. Okay, let's say it's something from somebody external. Don't use a certain kind of language with me. I'm just telling you that what I want is this kind of language. What I don't want is that kind of language. You understand that boundary? They can do whatever they want to, and if they continue with that, well, there's another boundary I'm going to set with myself. What do I allow, and what effect does that have on my relationship with that person? So to summarize here, the ways of seeing boundaries that we mostly have, right, what other people do, a group that we're part of, or what we deserve, are great elements of boundaries, but the way you can set a powerful boundary is base it on what you want and what you don't want in the life that you want, when you are how you need to be in that life. If you have any questions, just comment below or reach out to me directly. Have an awesome day, guys.